In today's video, Soda will help me demonstrate the difference between clipper blades and snap-on attachment combs. This is my set of wire attachment combs, and here are a couple of my clipper blades. There's 8 combs in this set, and each will groom your dog's coat to a different length, ranging from 3mm or 1/8 of an inch to 25mm or 1 inch. The combs attached to your clipper blade, I use a 10 blade, however you can also attach them to a 15 or a 30 blade. These combs are made of stainless steel, however I have seen some made out of plastic, but plastic combs can easily snag on your dog's coat and snap, so I recommend using stainless steel combs. Combs clip your dog's fur longer than blades can, so you'd use them if you're wanting to keep your dog's fur quite long. However, you can only use combs if you've prepped your dog's coat first, otherwise, as I said, it will snag and get caught in their fur. This involves brushing through your dog with a slicker brush to ensure all the knots and tangles have been removed from their coat, and then going over and checking with a comb, then bathing your dog and blow drying their coat with a pet dryer. This will ensure their fur dries straight, and then when you clip it, it will clip at an even length. These are a couple of blades I have, a 7F blade and a 5F blade, which are attached to my Heineken clippers. The F on the blade stands for finish blade. It has closer teeth than a skip tooth blade, and it's much safer to use than a skip tooth blade because you're less likely to catch the skin between the teeth. So I recommend using an F blade for all home groomers. Blades are great to use if you're after a shorter coat length, and they're also quicker to use than combs because you don't have to prepare the dog's coat. One thing to watch out for if you're using a metal comb without a comb attachment is that they heat up really quickly. If you're using one, be sure to keep checking the temperature of the blade on the inside of your wrist. Once it's warm, you'll need to stop grooming and wait for the blade to cool down. A hot blade can give your dog clipper burn, which is an itchy rash that can irritate them. You can buy ceramic blades to avoid this from happening, however they are more expensive. Attachment combs won't get hot because the plastic of the comb covers the metal blade. In terms of a cost comparison, this set of attachment combs cost me $117. You'll need a blade on your clippers to use them, however your clippers should come with a 10 blade included, so that shouldn't be an additional expense. If you're wanting to groom your dog a number of different lengths, then it's worth purchasing this set. However, if you're only planning on grooming your dog a couple of different lengths, or just the one length, you can buy these combs individually for around $32 each. The individual blades like the 7F and 5F I have here cost around $60 each. To help illustrate the different lengths of these combs and blades, and to show you that some combs and blades clip to the same length, I've laid them all out and written the lengths they clip the fur to next to them, from shortest to longest. The shortest clip is my 10 blade, which clips at the length of 15mm or 1/16 of an inch. This blade is used if your dog is extremely matted, or you can use this blade on your clippers underneath any of these combs. Next is the number 1 red comb, which clips at the length of 3mm or 1/8 of an inch. Now as you can see, the 7F blade clips the fur at a very similar length, 3.2mm or 1/8 of an inch. Then we have the number 2 purple comb, which clips to the length of 6mm or 1/4 of an inch. And as you can see, the 5F blade clips the fur at a very similar length, 6.4mm or 1/4 of an inch. Next is the 4F blade, which I don't have at the moment, it's currently being sharpened, but this blade clips to the length of 9.6mm or 3/8 of an inch. And as you can see, the number 3 dark blue comb clips the fur to a similar length, 10mm or 3/8 of an inch. The 3F blade, which is also being sharpened at the moment, clips to the length of 13mm or half an inch, which is exactly the same length as the number 4 tan comb. The rest of the combs clip the fur to the length of 16mm or 5/8 of an inch, 19mm or 3/4 of an inch, 22mm or 7/8 of an inch, and the longest is 25mm or 1 inch. Now I'll demonstrate a few of the lengths on Soda and show you how a blade and a comb can clip the fur the same length. First I'll use one of my combs, so first I'll attach my 10 blade to my Heineken clippers, and then I'll grab my 4 comb and I'll snap it onto my 10 blade. By hooking the comb over the base of the blade, pushing up with my fingers until it snaps over the teeth of the blade. Now we're ready to go. I've prepped Soda's fur so the combs won't snag on any knots or tangles by giving her a bath, then blow drying her fur and brushing through her coat. So I'll just clip the top left hand side of her back using the 4 comb. This comb will clip her coat to the length of 9.6mm or 3/8 of an inch. See how the comb is gliding easily through her coat? That's because I prepared her coat and I brushed through it using my slicker brush and also my comb, checking for any knots or tangles. Next, I'll use my number 2 comb, which clips the fur to the length of 6mm or 1/4 inch. Now for the last two lengths, I'm going to use two of my blades. First, I'll take off the comb, then I'll take off the 10 blade, and I'll put on my longest blade, which is a number 5F blade, which clips to the length of 6mm or 1/4 inch. You'll see I'm clipping the section of fur underneath the section where I clipped using the number 2 comb, so you can see the lengths are pretty much the same. The 5F blade also clips at 1/4 inch or 6.4mm, so that's 0.4mm longer than the number 2 comb. And lastly, I'll demonstrate the length of my 7F blade, which clips to the length of 3.2mm or 1/8 inch. Now let's have a closer look at these lengths. This section is where I use my 7F blade, which is 3.2mm or 1/8 inch. This section is a couple of millimeters longer where I use my 5F blade, it's 6mm or 1/4 inch. This section is the same length, however I use my number 2 comb. And this section is where I use number 4 comb, which is a little bit longer, 9.6mm or 3/8 inch. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you now have a better idea of the difference between combs and blades and the pros and cons of each.